My only thing is that better be free. The reason I say that is because unless it says all proceeds go to whatever, youth fund, whatever, then that's just a business taking money. Well, can't you have a bookstore? Yes, I suppose you could have a bookstore, but I still think that if someone walks in to the church, they should have access to what the church offers. Someone comes in and they're like, the thing that would minister to them best is that book, right? I really struggle with X theology or X habit, or I don't understand X thing about God. And you're able to go, dude, we have a book for that. Can't really afford a book. Here, take the book. If you're doing that, I am 100% on board. People who can afford the book, pay the book. People who can't but need it, we give them the book. Cool. Here, right? If you have like a little dish, it's like, hey, if you want to, throw in some money so we can pay for the coffee, go. But it needs to be that someone who is homeless, someone who is struggling financially, someone who is going through some stuff, someone who needs some comfort can walk up there and be like, yeah, hey, what do you want? Here you go. Have a coffee, have pastry. Love that you're here. Hope you had a great day, because that might be the only meal that person had in the last day. It could be that person hasn't had a decent cup of coffee because they couldn't afford it for a long time. But when they came to the church, they were able to be blessed by that. But if they walk in and there is a coffee shop that's like, yeah, $6, we're just like Starbucks, that I don't, that's offensive to me, because I believe that there's nothing wrong with having coffee and stuff at church, but you're there to serve the community and serve the people. You're there to love them, you care for them. And food is such a huge part of Scripture, right? When one of the accusations that Paul brought against the Corinthian church is that when they met together, the rich people would come early and then they would eat all the food before the poor people who had to go to work were able to get there, so that they couldn't get any. And so therefore, when they were to have communion, they'd show up and be like, oh yeah, we already had communion and we ate all the food. And Paul's like, and that's why God's super mad at you. So like, we gotta take church food super serious, man. And sitting around the table and supping with each other and caring for each other and all that stuff. This should be uniting. That this ministry should be something that unites people. People show up there and everybody's kind of gathered around because there's coffee, because there's cookies, because there's pastries. And they're able to kind of go, oh, hey, this is cool. Thank you so much. And what do you, oh, I loved it. We have a conversation, as opposed to make it some sort of elitist spot that only folks who carry around enough money can afford to come up there and actually get that, so that they can demonstrate their superiority or their richness or their whatever, or get their, their crack hit of something that they can't go without for 5 minutes because they absolutely need their sugar fix or their caffeine fix. And we want to make sure that we, exploit that to be able to get some money. It's just, I miss free coffee. You don't, like, if you don't have free coffee, like, you can't walk up to the coffee shop and say, could I please have a coffee? I find that to me, that's offensive. Yeah, I find that offensive. I've been in churches, I've pastored churches, I've volunteered at churches, I've been on staff at churches where homeless folks show up, man. And sometimes it's a good thing, right? And then they come in and they're able to be cared for and like, hey, what's your issue? And let's take care of you and see if we can give you something. Here's a gift card. You never give them cash, you always give them a gift card, because then they can't go buy lottery or smokes or alcohol. They can just go buy food. And they sometimes they come and they're sitting out front and they're just they just know that they're going to make all the Christians after church, they're super generous. And so they're going to make a bunch of money if they sit in front of the church. And so that, you got to be a bit discerning about it. But I've been in places where, there's some really poor folks, really other side of the tracks, not doing that great. Folks who come from a really rough week, really, they don't have a lot to work with. And they got to church. They got to church on the bus. They got to church because they got a ride, because they couldn't afford to be able to get there themselves. And they only come once a month because they're working the rest of the month because they have to. And so they show up, and if they walk in, I'm getting mad now. If they walk, I'm going to make myself cry. If they walk in and they can't have a coffee, because they can't afford it, because you've got a coffee shop that is simply there for profit, and that person has to walk by hungry, and the person has to walk by knowing that they're excluded yet from one more place that they can't afford to be at, and it's church. That makes me super mad. That makes me super mad. That shouldn't happen.